So this is client flow and onboarding. So we always want to start, where do we want to find clients to begin? So in this example, the client's going to search various websites for grooming services. Then they're going to fill in an intake form on your website. They're going to find your website. You're going to, hit all their pain points, sell on your website, and then they're going to fill this intake form. And then the intake form is going to be responded to via email during office hours. And then the new client books until, initial appointment via email. And again, this is just an example. So first things first, we want to create a client flow and an onboarding sequence, right? Then we need to, in this one, we talk about, who is in charge of what task. So when you're creating your onboarding flow, who is in charge of this? Now, you might be the only person in charge of this. So you need to say, okay, how do I want my client to find me, right? Then how do I want them to first contact me? Do I want them to contact me via phone? Do I want them to contact me via email? Do I want them to contact me this intake form? And then once I get this intake form, are they then going to go ahead and be able to, for instance, right? If I'm going to have these intake forms, come to me and then I have an email that's sent back, or when they're filling in the intake form, something like, we only check the intake forms once a month. I mean, you don't have to do this all the time. I think you guys are constantly rushing around like a crazy person. You can tell people like, listen, we only look at applications once a month, and it's the first week of the month or the first Sunday of the month, right? You don't have to do that. You can let people know. It's not uncommon, right? And again, that's where you need to change your mind. These are applications when you're talking about intake forms, right? And so this is where we want to start with our onboarding. And when the actual nitty gritty of onboarding, that's where we have to get really down deep into your personal expertise. What is important when you're doing these, right? So for instance, right, is that, making sure they're signing all of these things? Is that doing a follow-up call or some sort of client retention work, right? How do you want this client flow to work? And then that's going to help dictate your onboarding. And as far as like what to ask and all that, that really depends wildly on what is going on in your business. Do you take big dogs? Do you take elderly dogs? Do you take dogs with behavioral problems? And I love intake forms. I love, whether they go to a software or they're just a Google Doc. They're amazing because it allows a client to fill that information in. And then it's like a matter of, am I then going to take that information and am I going to make a phone call? Am I going to send an email? And again, I would really streamline it and either have office hours where you're only doing this 2 or 3 days a week, or 1 day a week, or once a month, right? And again, that's going to help differentiate between regular clients and clients that kind of want to be your fling clients.